Hello, my name is Miguel Mata, and this is the This Way Out podcast, a component of the This Way Out project. This podcast is where I take a few minutes to try and offer some words of encouragement, attempt to inspire and hopefully motivate people as they start their day, where I address a few topics that can be especially challenging for some people, but hopefully in a way that speaks to the humanity in each of us. Most of all, it's my attempt at being a constant source for positive messages in a time where such a thing can be somewhat difficult to find. Good morning. It's Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. Hello, podcast listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the This Way Out podcast. As always, I'm very happy that you decided to tune in and listen for a while. Your time is precious, and I would hate to waste it, especially if you're tuning in because you like the subject matter and not for the small talk. To be quite honest, I'm not very good with small talk either. In fact, I'm terrible at it. So that being said, what do you say we get started? Are you one of those people who cannot stand making mistakes? Like making mistakes are these cardinal sins that are unforgivable. You beat yourself up over them and really give someone else the business if they goof something up while you're around. I understand that completely and wholeheartedly. Admittedly and somewhat ashamedly, I too am the kind of person who can allow missteps and miscues to fester in my thoughts. Even though I know that most slip-ups are not matters of life and death, and can usually be fixed up and corrected rather quickly and with little mess. Here's what I've learned over the years, and I think holds pretty true for most of us. Attempting to live a life of perfection or striving for perfection, although admirable, can be the kind of exhaustive undertaking that can leave you worn out to the point of becoming useless. But it is admirable. It just doesn't leave you much room to make mistakes, which are a big part of learning and growth. Instead, I believe a strive for excellence is more appropriate. Excellence is a 99.99% criteria that allows for at least that 0.1% room for error. That 0.1% room for growth. In the mindset of striving for excellence, that empowers us the capacity to accept that to err is human. Because that is what we are. Human beings. Capable of great and fantastic things. But no human who's walked this planet, except for one, depending on your religious beliefs, has ever been perfect, without flaw, absent of faults or blemishes. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making mistakes. And if the effort is genuine is key here. If the effort is genuine, then a result short of perfection should be acceptable. There are very few tasks in this average everyday life that require perfect results. Let me be clear about one thing, by the way. For the A-type personalities in the room, and I don't suspect there are many, but there could be. Please do not confuse the message of being okay with less than perfect results with being okay with less than perfect effort. This podcast episode is not about one's effort in pursuit of a goal or purpose. All I'm talking about here is that mistakes and accidents are a part of life, and that when they happen, it's not the end of the world, because nobody is perfect. Life in general is far from perfect, and I'm sure we've all had experiences in that regard. Speaking of accidents, I wanted to share some gee-whiz, FYI, useless knowledge about some happy accidents that have taken place in history that have resulted in some pretty neat things. Do you know back in the 40s, a researcher named Percy Spencer was experimenting with these vacuum tubes called magnetrons? And apparently on one occasion while conducting his experiments, a candy bar he had in his pocket melted. And just like any regular person who discovers a new way to catch things on fire, the way, just like any average person would do, it was time to find out what else he could burn. And he decided he would try to pop some popcorn with his new toy, and eureka! The discovery which led to his inventing the microwave. I think this next story is a pretty well-known one, but also in the 40s, a naval engineer named Richard James was trying to design a spring that would help keep important equipment steady on boats and ships. And he accidentally knocked one of these springs off of his desk. And when he did, the spring kept moving and walking on its own. And this little happy accident later became known as the Slinky toy. It walks downstairs alone and in pairs and makes a slinkity sound. Come on. Spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky. It's Slinky, it's Slinky. For fun, it's a wonderful toy. It's fun for a girl and a boy. Am I the only one that sang that? Am I the only one that thought of that song when I mentioned the Slinky? Alright, never mind. In 1955, a guy named Noah McVicker was trying to invent wallpaper cleaner. And instead, he came up with something he was able to sell to a toy manufacturer called Rainbow Crafts, and Play-Doh was born. Other accidental discoveries that we all benefit from today include fireworks, silly putty, post-it notes, and the wonder drug penicillin. So what's the point of all this? The point is that accidents happen. Mistakes happen. And it's okay. Personally, I can understand the desire to live a perfect, mistake-free existence. I can understand the want to strive for perfection. Where I ask the question is that in the pursuit of perfection, where does that leave us when we expose a flaw or slip up? I think it leaves us feeling pretty bad, or feeling worse than is necessary. Errors, mistakes, slip-ups, miscues are what make life interesting. And in my experience, it's in these moments where our greatest personal growth takes place. Because we learn something about ourselves and our surroundings, and we become better, improved versions of ourselves. It's way easier said than done. But let's all try not to be so hard on ourselves and others when mistakes are made. That's my message to you this morning. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. And I hope you have a great and fantastic day today. Remember, you can make a difference in this world by making a difference in your world, the one you live in every day. Be the best person you can be with yourself and others. And I guarantee, in the grand scheme of things, it's creating the type of positive change we're all looking for. You are awesome. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're strong, and you are capable of accomplishing anything you set your mind to. I believe that entirely, and you should believe that too. Talk to you again on Monday. This has been the This Way Out podcast, a part of the This Way Out project. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear future episodes, please subscribe. If you would like to get in touch with me to recommend future topics, provide feedback, or any other reason, you can comment on the episode or send me an email at thiswo.light@gmail.com. That's thiswo.light@gmail.com. If you're interested in the other aspects of the This Way Out project, be sure to visit my website at thiswo-light.com.